This is Agriculture Today. I'm Samantha Bennett with the K-State Radio Network. Ahead of us this Wednesday, we start with Kansas Farm Service Agency Farm Loan Chief, Josh Ritter. He joins us this week to share information about the FSA's Farm Storage Facility Loan Program, which can be utilized to help producers store and or transport eligible commodities that they produce. Also ahead, the Agricultural Economics Department is highlighted by their Director of Undergraduate Programs, Dr. Elizabeth Yeager. We end today's programming as we always do with our BCI's Ask the Experts segment, which this week is hosted by K-State experts Brad White, Bob Larson, and Dustin Pendell. This week, they answer a listener's question regarding whether or not to sell their replacement heifers with such high prices. That and more is coming up ahead on Agriculture Today. This is Agriculture Today. We are back now with one of our friends from the Farm Service Agency. Today, Josh Ritter is joining us. He is a farm loan chief with the Kansas FSA. So, Josh, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. So, previously on the program, you've discussed several different loan programs that are administered by the FSA. And I understand that the FSA also has a loan program now for grain storage. So can you tell me a little bit more about this program?
Sure, yeah. FSA, we do administer a loan program specifically for grain storage, and it's called our Farm Storage Facility Loan, or FSFL program. And the program is intended to be used by producers to help them store, handle, and or transport eligible commodities they produce. Most commonly, the program's used for storage structures such as grain bids and grain distribution systems, but in addition, the program can also be used for the following purposes: hay storage structures, bulk tanks or milk storage, cold storage for meat, eggs, or fruits and vegetables, and also portable equipment used to handle eligible commodities. That would include augers, grain carts, hay wagons, baggers and unloaders, and then storage and handling trucks, including semi-trucks, grain trucks, and semi-trailers such as grain hopper trailers.
Excellent. So these programs aren't just for grain. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of different ways that they can be used. But in terms of eligibility, who all can actually utilize these programs, and what are some of their requirements? Sure.
Yeah, there's kind of a two-part process to eligibility, and the first part of that is that the commodity the producer wants to store must be an eligible commodity. Luckily for our state, eligible commodities include hay and most grains commonly raised in Kansas, like wheat, corn, soybeans, and milo. And other eligible commodities would include fruits and vegetables, meat, eggs, and milk, and things of that nature. Also, the person or entity applying for the loan must be the producer of the eligible commodity. So this program is not authorized for commercial storage. FSA will complete a storage calculation to verify that the applicant shows a need for the storage structure based on reported production acres. For grain storage, we can consider the applicant's storage needs for 2 years of production. Cold storage, which would include storage for fruits, vegetables, meat, milk, etc., is limited to 1 year of storage needs.
So a great opportunity for some of maybe those smaller producers that have more of those niche needs, for sure.
Yeah, yep.
Awesome. And then what are the financial requirements specifically for a producer that's applying for this loan under the FSFL program?
So most of the time when I come here talking about our FSA loan programs, we have a requirement that applicants are not able to obtain their needed credit from a commercial lender. But that's not a requirement for this FSFL program. So we can make storage facility loans to an applicant even if they could get that loan for the facility from a commercial lender. So that's very different from a lot of the loan programs we offer. As part of the financial review that FSA does, we're required to review the applicant's current balance sheet, and that's to verify that the applicant would have the resources available to make the required down payment. In addition, we'll analyze their typical year cash flow projection so we can ensure the applicant can make the annual payment on the loan.
Sure, and that process of getting those steps verified, is that just something they can do in their local FSA location?
Yeah, they would submit the application to the local FSA office, and we do actually have a regional structure where we have 4 offices, I guess I should say, that look at the loan information, but always start at that local office, I would say, and then they'll get it to the right people. So
excellent. And then what are some of the terms and conditions of some of these FSFL loans?
Sure. Yeah, the maximum loan amount for each FSFL loan is $500,000. Applicants can have multiple loans provided they show the storage need and can show repayment ability. So if you have, for example, a $1.25 million structure you're looking to finance, we can do that. It's just going to have to be separated into separate loans, but we can finance the whole structure.
Sure.
So also applicants are required to make a down payment of 15% of the total cost of the structure or equipment being purchased. And there is a possibility for a slightly lower down payment requirement on small loans of $50,000 or less. As far as terms go for our FSFL loans, they can be termed out for 3, 5, 7, 10, or 12 years. And the loan term corresponds with the loan amount. So smaller loans are amortized for a shorter time and larger loans offer a longer amortization period. The interest rate then are established each month for this program. The interest rate for each loan is the rate in effect at the time of loan approval and is fixed for the term of the loan. So the interest rates change monthly, but once it's fixed for a loan, it stays that for the term of the loan. Currently, the interest rates are low, but they have seen an increase in the past few months. So for loans approved in September, a 3-year term carries an interest rate of 3.125%, and a 12-year term has an interest rate of 2.875%, and all the other terms kind of fall in that same range. So.
Sure. And then in terms of security, what is really required for these loans if those tuning in are interested?
Sure. And the security requirements depend upon what we call the aggregate outstanding loan amount. So in other words, we have to consider any outstanding principal balance on existing FSFL loans and the amount of the new loan request when determining what security will be required. So for aggregate amounts of $100,000 or less, a first lien is required on whatever is being purchased with the facility loan. For example, if the applicant's purchasing a grain bin, then we will require a lien on the grain bin being purchased to meet security requirements. For those aggregate amounts over $100,000, a lien on a tract of real estate is required in addition to the lien being taken on whatever is being purchased with the loan funds. As an alternative to a lien on the structure or a lien on real estate, we do offer the option that the applicant can provide an irrevocable letter of credit from their lending institution. If an irrevocable letter of credit is received, then that satisfies the security requirements for the FSFL loan.
So you mentioned it could be a lien on the structure or a lien on real estate. In terms of real estate, is that farmland that they can do?
Typically, yeah. What our regulations, our first preference would be the farmland that the structure is going to be sat on first. If that's not available, then we can substitute other farmland. So. Okay.
And then are there any fees specifically associated with this loan program in and of itself?
Sure, yeah. There is actually a non-refundable application fee of $100 that's charged for each FSFL application. And in addition, if the loan does have to be secured by real estate, the applicant is required to pay for an appraisal if needed and all costs associated with title work, mortgage filings, et cetera, under the program. So.
And then if someone is interested in beginning the process of starting one of these loans, where does that process really start at?
Sure, and kind of like what we discussed briefly, we do have those 4 regional offices for FSFL delivery, but I encourage everyone, you're used to your local office, you work with your local office every day. Go in there and make your application there, get your application information submitted there, and once you get that submitted, then they'll work behind the scenes with the regional office, and we'll get that all interplayed out, but definitely start with the local office first.
Excellent. So you mentioned those 4 major offices, but starting with your local FSA agent is a great start, and they'll kind of take the hard work from there.
Yep, for sure.
Excellent. And then before we close out today's program, is there anything else we really need to know about these FSFL programs?
Yeah, there is one pretty important issue that I want potential applicants to keep in mind. With our FSFL loans, they must be approved before any site preparation and or construction can be started. So all loan requests are subject to an environmental evaluation, and accepting delivery of equipment or starting any site preparation or construction before loan approval may impede the successful completion of that environmental evaluation and can adversely affect loan eligibility. So with that in mind, we recommend that anybody interested in this program contact FSA early in the planning stages. This will help us ensure that all environmental regulations are followed correctly and will also give FSA a chance to help producers with the application process.
Sure. So this isn't something that you want to add on as you're midway into building something. It's something you want to keep in mind from the very beginning of it.
Right, yeah. I mean, for better or worse, part of being with the government is we have some things we need to follow, and one of those is an environmental process that we really need to start as early in the process as we can.
Sure, and does the FSA kind of cover those environmental evaluation processes, or does the producer need to take hold of any of that?
No, we'll just get the information from the producer about what the project is, and then if we need to contact anybody, any agencies, we'll take the lead on that. FSA will. So
excellent. And if producers are listening and they're tuning in and they're thinking, well, maybe this is something that I could use on one of my projects I've been dreaming up, where can they find more information about this loan program?
Yeah, really, once again, I would say start with the local office, and they'll be able to provide you some information. You could also go to our website, and there we have some information on FSFLs there, so fsa.usda.gov, I believe.
Excellent. Well, as always, that will be linked in the show notes of today's program. But Josh, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show.
Absolutely. Once again, that was Josh Ritters. He is a farm loan chief with the Kansas Farm Service Agency, providing information on farm storage facility loans through the FSA. Before we cut to a short break here momentarily, still ahead, a preview at what's to come here this Wednesday on Agriculture Today. We still have ahead of us the last of our departmental highlights for the College of Agriculture here at K-State. And we end with, last but certainly not least, the Department of Agricultural Economics. And it is highlighted by the Director of Undergraduate Programs, Dr. Elizabeth Yeager, as well as two students who share about the unique experiences that they have had, both inside the classroom and abroad. We conclude today's program with the Beef Cattle Institute's Ask the Experts segment, where this week our experts are K-State's very own Brad White, Bob Larson, and Dustin Pendell. They answer a listener's question regarding whether or not to sell their replacement heifers with such high current prices, or to hold on in anticipation of low cattle inventory that is expected to unfurl before us in the year or so ahead. A very important question with some great answers from our experts, as always, with the Beef Cattle Institute. But with that being said, we're going to cut to a short break now, and we'll be back with more ahead on Agriculture Today. This is Agriculture Today. We are back now with three guests in the studio. They are joining us today to speak about the Agricultural Economics Department here at K-State for the last of our departmental highlights here in the College of Agriculture. Faculty-wise, we have with us Dr. Elizabeth Yeager. She serves as the department's Director of Undergraduate Programs. So, Dr. Yeager, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
We also have with us two students from the department. So Bailey, Hannah, tell us a little bit more about yourselves.
My name's Bailey Wolfcool, and I'm a junior in agricultural economics with a finance specialty.
My name's Hannah Ballard, majoring in agribusiness, and I'm a senior this fall, so thanks for having me.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm really happy you guys were able to carve out time out of your busy school day to come and speak with us today in studio. But Dr. Yeager, let's go ahead and start with covering some of the undergraduate majors that your department offers to its students.
So we offer majors in both agricultural economics and agribusiness, and then under each of those majors, we have different options that students can select from. So our most popular is the agribusiness option, but we also have a food industry option as well as an agricultural sales option that's been really popular. That one just started a couple years ago. And then under agricultural economics, our most popular option is the specialty option. So like Bailey mentioned, her specialty was finance. Students can have a specialty in almost anything that they can dream up. So that works out really well for students pursuing a minor, because typically any minor that you could have at K-State, you could also use for your specialty, but you can also create your own. So I've had students who've done a food marketing specialty when that's not a minor at K-State, but we were able to help them select courses to make that work.
Very cool. So when it comes to your majors, those different options you mentioned, I guess the class variability in your department is what really allows for that specialization?
Exactly. So the standard coursework for both our agribusiness degree as well as agricultural economics is very similar. The main difference between the two is really where students want to focus once they complete their degree at K-State. So agribusiness has students taking a few more courses specifically from the College of Business, and then it tailors their ag-econ courses and electives to be more business, sales, marketing related. And agricultural economics is focusing more on general economic concepts and allow students to select more of our agricultural economics electives specifically.
When students start in your department, there's a lot of options. So when they walk through the doors as freshmen, do they usually know exactly what area they hope to focus on, or is it something that they're really learning over time?
It's usually something they learn over time. We have a lot of eager freshmen who are really excited and they think they know exactly what they want to do, but oftentimes that changes. And then sometimes they come in and they just know they want to be in the College of Agriculture. They also maybe have an interest in economics or math or business. And so both agricultural economics and agribusiness has a lot of opportunities for them to pursue.
That's great. When it comes to parents of prospective students preparing for college and trying to make the decision of where might be best to send their kids to school, scholarships may be at the top of their minds, right? So what are some of the scholarship opportunities available to specifically Ag Econ students at K-State?
Yes, so we were able to award almost $258,000 in scholarships specifically to our students this fall. So we're very excited by that number. But I would encourage all students, make sure you're filling out the general K-State scholarship application. And then once that's completed, we work with the Associate Dean of the College of Ag and specifically to try and award our students additional scholarships. So scholarship range this year started at 3.0 and above. Students were awarded scholarships. So any continuing student meeting those eligibility requirements that have applied for scholarships are eligible to receive scholarships from our department.
Yeah, and then also there's some other scholarship opportunities once you kind of become more established in the department with the ACCC. I know Bailey and I were fortunate enough to both receive one of those scholarships, so just wanted to highlight them as well.
And for those listening, what is the ACCC? Can you explain that opportunity to us a little bit more?
So the Arthur Capper Cooperative Center scholarships are part of our departmental scholarship awards, but Dr. Brigham and Celeste Barrett put together a scholarship committee that I also sit on that's donors and members, cooperative members who also help to select special scholarships that are part of the ACCC.
Well, that is good to know about for sure. And since we have two students here today, I thought it might be a good chance for you both to share about some of the opportunities that Ag Econ students have to get involved even outside of the classroom. So what are some of those?
Well, I think one of the best opportunities for Ag Econ students to get involved is to join the Ag Econ Ag Biz Club. I'm fortunate enough to get to serve as president this year, and I'm really looking forward to getting things back to normal in the club, because I will say my freshman year was kind of a COVID year, and so it looked a little different, but we're back to normal and we're ready for a good year. We're actually going to have our first meeting this evening. So I think that's one of the best opportunities for Ag Econ Ag Biz students to kind of get to know people in their department. Another opportunity that I recently became a part of was the Center for Risk Management. It's for people in all kinds of majors. I think we have over 27 majors in the program, and you get the opportunity to hear from industry speakers and just learn about risk management and how it applies in your field and many other fields. So that's a new one that I'm pretty excited for.
And then I can highlight some. So we do have a NAMA team, which they do a lot of like sales and marketing competitions. And that is led by Mr. Lehman. And that competition is usually hosted in Kansas City, which is really fun. And then recently I got to be a part of a competition called IFAMA. So stands for Food and International Marketing Association. So the competition was held in Costa Rica, and I was a part of the undergrad team to compete in the case study competition. So basically we did a strategic management overview of an agribusiness located in Central America and presented to judges from across the world, all the way from, academia professionals to industry professionals to even those who had their own farms in Costa Rica or around the area. So just a really neat opportunity to be surrounded with the top people of agriculture across the world.
Wow, that's very cool. So preparation for that, what did that really look like for you?
Yeah, so this spring we met with our team. It was just me, two other individuals, and then our coach, Mr. Lehman. We just read through case studies and kind of practiced and kind of came up with this strategy on how is best to go through case studies, because sometimes they can be very long. I would also just add that our other agribusiness, Ag Econ classes that we have taken throughout our time kind of help prepare us for the competition. So usually I would say upperclassmen, it would be an opportunity for them to go, but something good to work hard towards if that's something that you want to be a part of as a freshman. And the next year, the competition is in New Zealand. So it's a competition that moves each year.
That's something for Ag Econ students to work towards and aspire for sure, like you mentioned. It's easy to see why incoming students would find this department so appealing. But why did you two specifically choose the agricultural economics department here at K-State for your undergraduate studies and not somewhere else?
So I grew up outside of Lawrence. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm so glad you came to K-State and not to KU. But really, K-State was always the school for me. My family has a lot of alumni from here, and I grew up going to K-State football games, and I just think Manhattan is just my second home. I didn't really know what I wanted to do coming into college. I was like, do I want to do animal science? Do I want to do ag business? I just didn't know. So I originally came in as ag business because I was like, well, I just think that's a really broad major that can teach you a lot, and you can apply it in a lot of different ways. And as I was kind of getting into my classes, I was like, oh, well, maybe I kind of want to focus on that economic side of things and how that impacts the decisions that we make in ag. And then I guess from there, that's where I kind of figured out that I want to do ag finance. So the thing I really like about the ag econ department is we're a pretty small department. Say we have a good amount of professors, a good amount of classes, but your professors get to know you, and you can easily get to know your professors and get involved, and you can know a lot of people in your classes. I guess overall, I just like the ag econ department because it's small and it's homey, but I think it offers you a good set of knowledge that you can apply in a lot of different ways.
I selected ag business because I grew up on a farm and ranch in the middle of the Flint Hills. My parents didn't go to K-State, so kind of different for my family, but I kind of like to think I'm paving the way for the future generations. I decided ag business because I knew I wanted to remain a part of agriculture, but just not really interested on the production side. So that's how I came to agribusiness. I'll just add on to what Bailey said. We have some of the best professors and who've really taken the time to get to know their students, and that's something that I really appreciate about the ag econ department.
Absolutely. Nothing, I think, makes more of a difference in a student's learning than when they feel genuinely supported by the faculty and even staff in their program. Dr. Yeager, as we wrap up here today, if listeners are tuning in and they're looking for more information about the Ag Econ department, where can they find that information at?
Yes, so if you would like any additional information, please go to our website, which is ageconomics.ksu.edu, or feel free to email at agec, which is AGEC, at ksu.edu.
As always, those resources will be linked in the show notes of our podcast version of today's show, which can be found on agtoday.net. But once again, thank you all for your time today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Once again, that was Dr. Elizabeth Yeager and two of her students from the Ag Econ department here at K-State, providing some insight into the undergraduate opportunities available to Ag Econ students. We will be back with more ahead on Agriculture Today. This is Agriculture Today. We are ending our Wednesday programming as we always do with the Beef Cattle Institute's Ask the Experts. This week our experts are K-State's very own Brad White, Bob Larson, and Dustin Pendell.
Hi, welcome to Beef Cattle Institute's Ask the Experts. I'm Brad White, and with me today is Dr. Dustin Pendell, an Ag Econ here at Kansas State. Hi, Dustin.
Hello.
And Dr. Bob Larson, who's a veterinarian working here at the Veterinary School at Kansas State. Bob.
Hey, Brad.
So happy to have you guys listening with us on our BCI Ask the Experts. We find the right experts to answer your questions. If you'd like to send us a question, you can email us at bci@ksu.edu with Ask the Experts in the subject line. And our format is I'll ask each expert the same listener question, and they have a chance to provide their input and respond to each other's comments. Based on their answers, they'll be awarded up to a maximum of 10 points. So let's get started with today's question. This listener asked a question. Cattle prices are relatively high now, but I've also heard that cattle inventory may be short next year. I'm debating keeping more replacement heifers, or should I sell them now while prices are good? Dustin?
So that's a great question. If we had a crystal ball, I'm sure, everybody would be doing it. And I know, you don't like this answer, but it depends. What is your strategy, right? You've probably had a strategy going into this year. What is that strategy? You got to think short run versus long run. Although the prices are good right now and they're projected to be higher even next year, better next year, the input prices are pretty good right now, right, or higher. And they're projected probably to go up. Do you have the forage? Those are all kinds of things that you need to think about as you're putting your decision together. But whatever that decision is, sell or buy, put pencil to paper. Every land-grant university has their Department of Ag Econ extension. They've got spreadsheets, tools available, such as agmanager.info. But do your homework first before you make that decision.
Excellent. Thanks, Dustin. Good answer, except for the it depends part. You know I was going to take points off for that, and you went a little bit over time. So 6 points, Bob. You've got an opportunity here.
Well, I think I need a couple of points bonus to start with because I'm not an ag economist. I took 2 ag economics classes, and I know more than 2 ag economists. But this is really an economics question, but one where when I've hung around with ag economists, they always emphasize, buy low, sell high. And if prices are high, I'm really tempted to sell. I'm really tempted to sell those heifers. And, yes, I have to keep back the number I need to have my normal replacement rate for the herd, but I may not want to hold additional heifers back because I'm concerned that if I'm betting on the future, it's kind of a bird in the hand issue. I can sell high now. I think I'd like to do that.
So you're saying sell
now. Sell now. Sell high.
Dustin, any response?
I didn't even know what he was talking. It was buy, sell, low, high.
Well, that's what ag economists say. Yeah, they say those words.
You had a couple good points. Number one, you got to try and replace some. But again, it comes back to your current situation. Do you have the forages to buy more if you want to, especially in a drought? Don't forget the input prices are going up. Yes, the prices for the outputs are high, but you got to take into account that inputs as well.
Bob?
So I'm agreeing that I was basing my answer on the price I can receive for selling heifers now. And my input price is basically the extra feed or forage or pasture that it's going to take to manage the rest of those additional heifers that I might want to save. I don't know whether I'm buying high or selling low right now. So that's why I guess maybe I'm not an ag economist. I'm going to stick with my answer, though. I'm going to sell now. I'm just going to stick with it.
Excellent. So lots of discussion there relative to the buy-sell. We're talking about replacement heifers. As you come to weaning, this year the prices are good. And I'm going to go back to Dustin's points that he raised relative to knowing your operation. This is not a one-size-fits-all decision, and I like how Dustin framed that into figure out what resources we have available, how we can get those to work in that operation. And Bob, I'm afraid Dustin's going to end up with more points than you on this one.
It's an ag econ question. Surely he's going to win.
He ended up with 9. You ended up with 7 points. And as always, though, appreciate you guys sending us those questions. And we'll try to find, if it's a ag econ question, we're going to find an ag econ guy to answer it. Because on our Ask the Experts, we want to find the right person to answer your question. And if you have a question for us, you can send us a question at bci@ksu.edu with BCI Ask the Experts in the subject title.
That concludes today's programming. A special thank you to our experts, Brad White, Bob Larson, and Dustin Pendell. We'll be back with more tomorrow on Agriculture Today.